it's Dashia D.
And it's Jay Stan.
Welcome back to In Retrospect Podcast, where we look beyond the surface to find understanding.
Bring you laughs, knowledge, and culture.
So sit back, relax, and join the convo.
Well, as you guys can see, we have another special guest that has joined us today, and we appreciate him taking the time out of his busy schedule to just stop by and, drop some gems and knowledge onto any and everything that we're about to discuss today. Coach Dallas Allen will say that he is an athletic director at Mays High School. He has coached the best. He has been through it all. We're going to chime in and we're going to, dig in and try to get some gems and some knowledge from him. Coach, did you have anything you wanted to say?
No, but I'm just happy you guys invited me over to join you guys on a special occasion, and I'm here to help and drop the knowledge that the Lord brings to me.
How do you feel on, should players off the field or off the court, their activities negatively impact their employment for as far as expectations go? Example, Ja Morant being suspended from games due to online activity outside of what he's doing on the court or on the field?
Well, I think situations like that, it has to be more of a common sense goal. I understand some of these guys, they are brought up in these different environments that kind of set them apart from everybody else. And that, some of those environments, they're positive environments, some of them are not. And then some of them are actually created, just like John, just like that guy, his situation, it's kind of weird because you come from a nice family, decent neighborhood, but then again, at the end of the day, you want to portray that you're something that you're actually not.
So I don't follow sports, right? So the only thing that I see related to athletes is their off-court, off-field behavior. So what he said with the Ja Morant and the gun, but then also I'll see things about their personal lives, I saw how people felt a way about Cam Newton's locks and how he wears them and how he dresses. Should we even care about that? Because that's not
not that we should, but to be politically correct, in society nowadays, they accept different things. You got somebody in this corner, they may accept that. You got somebody in the other corner, they may accept something different. As far as Cam Newton is concerned, teaching him and bringing him up through the high school ranks, it was always a thing. My theme was I want you to look like when that college scout come through this building, I want him to look at you and make sure that you're the guy he want to put on his media guide. And then you got some guys come in there, that they're looking crazy, their hair twist up, the pants sagging, and they just looking like they just don't care about the society. But at the end of the day, you got to care, because sometimes you lose dollars and cents, or you lose promotions, or you lose a lot of things, because if you look at Cam's career early on, he had the whole game working. He had Under Armour, he had belts, he had the Oakley. What's that? The
Oakley, the shades.
The Ogre, he had the shades. He had the whole game working. But then when things start changing, the money start, being prevalent, some of that stuff start backing off, because it was about the brand that these people wanted to put out. So sometimes they have to look at, what do you want out of the deal? You want to maximize your potential, or you just want to stay like everybody else?
Right.
I guess in their mind, as a young athlete, you're not thinking about being marketable. You're just thinking about, I want to play this sport. I love this sport, and I just want to make money.
Yeah, but the issue with that, though, is that I watched, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet or not. It's called Untold Swamp Kings. It's on Netflix, about the backstory of the whole Florida Gators when they were winning all those championships from, I think, the 2007 to 2010 span. I know Cam was on that team, a part of one of the teams, of course. And they were talking about the whole background of it and the marketability. For instance, Tebow around that time. Everyone was like, oh, where's Tebow? What's Tebow doing? and they were pushing him so hard it became about Tebow more than the team. Now, on the documentary, what made it interesting, though, that now that Coach Dallas said that, is that when they were talking about marketability, a lot of those cats were on the team, and they were trying to figure out, well, dang, I do all this. Why am I not being pushed? It's because America, I mean, hey, we're still trying to so-called move in a better direction, make it more accessible for everybody. But what it really is at the root of it all is they were comfortable pushing Tim Tebow. All those boys, with the dreads, gold in their mouth, because you're in Florida.
Right.
Everybody, everything down there, that's how
Everybody
they are.
got the grill.
And everybody trying to figure out why I'm not getting the love, why I'm not getting pushed. When you got a Bible thumping quarterback, clean cut, no tattoos, nothing, man of God, and it's really, and I'm putting this all down so you can understand, Dashia, because like the stereotypes that you can hear coming out of my mouth versus what they like, so they can push, because what sells in their mind. But you got to understand, there's different people that you can reach, but it's an ever-changing situation.
It is, and then too, the population that you're actually trying to reach, sometimes you have to decide which population you want to reach, and that's the population you geared yourself toward. The dreads, the fashion that Cam. Because right now, he's geared toward, and he's acceptable by the younger generation, because that's their style, that's their hairstyle. Everybody want, locks like tree trunks growing out of your head, and the sporty caps, just the gear that he have now. But see, back then, he had that $1 million smile. He had that schoolboy haircut, and that's why they actually made him the face of the NFL. But when things start changing, so now he's attracting a different audience, which is good. Which is okay. It's to each his own, But like we're all three of us on different wavelengths, because the time that I come up, it was, low, close haircut, you brush your teeth, shirts in your pants, and Miss Liza, who's the teacher, you know what I'm saying? But but now times has actually changed, man.
Yeah, and like you said, times have changed. Everybody's trying to make sure that they are not only just reaching one demographic, but all demographics in some form or fashion. And I know you were hitting on how things used to be. I was just curious to know, back in the day, I always hear people tell stories about how they were training or how coaches were really hard on them and, were pushing them to be better. You think you tired? No, give me a little bit more. Yeah. Just give me a little bit more.
I can't say how many times that I go back and remember. Nowadays, you get a hard hit to the head, they pull you out of the game. I can remember the times when I was playing football. You get that head. I'm pretty sure I had several head concussions. But you come to the sideline, they get what they used to call smelling sauce. They break it, they put it around your nose. You come to, they ask you how many fingers you see. I see two fingers. Okay, put your helmet on and get back out there. Nowadays, you come out and you have a head trauma, you got to sit out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, you mess around and catch a lawsuit behind that if you leave them on the field and you don't take them off. And that leads me to the next question, of course, with everything that is going on, and we're trying to be more proactive about, how athletes are feeling and what's going on with them when they're participating in these sports. Is it a normal occurrence for athletes to suffer from heart attacks as often as we've been seeing? We've seen several athletes, suffer from heart attacks recently. Bronny James, LeBron James' son, and there are various other athletes as well, but that one in particular. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, sometimes when things like that happen, that condition is most of the time is already there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Most athletes nowadays, everybody has a trainer, everybody has a certain style, and they push themselves to a certain length. Back in the day, you work for 2 hours, and you was good. Nowadays, you're working almost 8 hours a day to try to hone your craft. The same thing. Let's go back 20 years ago. Football season only lasted 3 months. Now it's year round.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? training now is pretty much year round. So, all those things, all those training and all those drills and stuff that you did now, that goes back way back to, to ancient time, but you just do more, so, go back and look at the old football players, old basketball players. They put their time in 3 months, they take 6 months off. But now you can't take time off.
Yeah, they feel like you're falling behind. Go ahead, Dashia. You about to say, you about to talk about that heat, aren't you? How the heat ain't the same.
Oh, no,
people will tell us the heat. Oh, my bad.
I was gonna ask, because athletes are putting themselves through so much to become professional players, do you feel like college level players should be paid for playing outside of scholarship?
I've always thought that they should, and that's why they got the NIL. And the NIL now, it's making it hard for everybody. Actually, even down to high school, we got players now in high school. You can't promote your team, with their pictures on your website because they have attorneys now. So anytime you want to display their picture, you got to pay them for it. In college now, they got these NILs, these guys making millions of dollars right away. But you take back let's go way back when Herschel Walker was playing football. Can you imagine the amount of money that he made by selling up the jersey number 34? And he didn't get one dime from it. But now, you get a prolific athlete like that. He's coming into your school now with his hand out. He wants the bag, so he want to get that NIL. They get cars, they get millions of dollars. So right now it's prevalent that college athletes are getting paid.
Right. And Coach, I'm glad you're on because and you picked a great time to have this conversation with us in regards to everything that is going on. I just wanted to bring up the topic with the coach. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you guys have seen it or not. Coach recently was arrested in regards to punching a child because he was upset with him.
No, yes, I did not see that.
Well, punched the child, and I was like, "Whoa, hey, now."
Well, I really can't speak on that now because the investigation is still going on, and I'm a part of that investigation.
Oh, allegedly. Oh, well.
Yeah. So I can't speak on that. Being the athletic director of Mays High School.
Okay, most certainly. Well, we'll push forward then.
But to push forward, I can go back and I can say that back in the day when I played, coaches, they went a little medieval to get you to get their point across.
Right.
But nowadays they're not having it.
Right.
You can't talk to the kids like you used to. You can't treat them like you used to. Back in the day when I played, you wouldn't even get water. If you asked for water, they would say you're soft. Yeah. But nowadays, when a kid wants water, you give them water. And that's because, the heat index and the heat related injuries, you got kids dropping dead, because of the heat injuries and that sort of thing. So, a lot of this stuff is just right now it's preventive. So, I agree with that. And I'm with that 100% because I don't ever want to see a child suffer because of something that an adult had a hand into,
Right. And go ahead, Dashia.
I was going to say there is, I think, an investigation going on that does not involve you. There was a documentary that came out on Max called BS High, where it's following this football coach, Roy Johnson, in Ohio. He basically, have y'all heard of this?
Yes, created a fake football team and went
he
played against high schoolers and they lost.
With a fake high school, and it included people who were actually already out, like graduated from high school. He was able to con his way for the team to play against a
nationally ranked team on ESPN.
And so now he is being sued because he promised all of these players that if you play with me, you'll make it into a college and then you'll be drafted into the NFL. And so, I'm just saying all this to say, like, it's sad because players put their bodies and their minds through so much for this one-off chance that they might make it professionally.
Yeah. I mean, but keep in mind, only 1% make it.
Exactly. And listen, I did play in college, and I will say this, and I'm just going to add my 2 cents. There are a lot of people that are amazing. Like, you see highlights, and you think to yourself, wow, this person is going. But there's another person at another school.
Oh.
Yeah, it seemed like we lost him.
Yeah. I was going to say, if it is only 1% that makes it, is it because of who they know, or is it truly just based on talent and skills?
Well, you know, a lot of time it's based on talent and skills, and nowadays, you know, see, back in the day, if you can run fast and jump higher, you know, you got a scholarship. Now a whole lot of other things come into play now. You know, you got to really be able to read and write. It takes more than talent, because right now, you know, you can take 10 guys off one team. You can go to the next team. You got the same guys that's same height, same weight, smell the same, have the same weight, you know, and everything. But it's one thing about those particular kids that they're going to select that's going to set them apart from other kids. You know, and you know, that's, you know, when I was actually a coach, that was one of the things that I tried to instill in my players. And that was probably one of the reasons we got so many in college and so many in the league, is because when a coach came to my school, I made sure that all those athletes look like that's the guy that they want. Although the guy the guy across the street may be the same height, same speed, same weight, you know, even the same grades. But there was one thing about that kid that the colleges saw, and they prefer to have that kid, you know, on their team. And character plays a lot of that role.
Right. So would you say that at times, I know you did, you know, you kind of hinted towards it, that who you know does play a role at times to get your foot in that door, to have that endorsement when it comes to next level play, potentially in college, of course, if you know a college coach, or that endorsement, how big of a role, in your honest opinion, does that endorsement play in, you know, a kid's future going to the next level?
Well, you know, one thing I did learn during my tenure as a head football coach is that you have to build relationships.
Right.
And building those relationships come with a lot of trust. You know, I could pick up a phone and call, you know, University of Georgia and say, you know, hey, my guy, you know, I got a kid down here. I think you need to come look at him. I think he'll fit your program just right. And I'm not going to call him down unless I actually know that that kid is a good fit for their program. You know, I mean, I always feel like there's a kid that can play on any college level, but every level is not for every kid. You know, but the issue these days is that everybody have a false pretense that I'm a Division I player and that's all I'm going to look at. But you know, there you got Division I, you got Division II, you got NAIA, you got Division III. You know, so you know, you look at a kid and you look at that fit and say, okay, I think this kid will be a good fit in this division. So let me call a coach I got a relationship with, have him come look at this kid. And when he comes to the school, you know, it's really up to that coach whether he liked the kid or not. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I'm gonna get on, but I'm gonna stand tall and do a table dance to make sure that he give my kid a better look than the kid next door, because I do know that when he look at my kid and look at the next kid, my kid has a little bit something that the other one don't.
If they get drafted into an HBCU versus a bigger, well-known school that's usually predominantly white, are their chances lessened as far as being drafted into the NFL?
Used to be.
Okay.
But not today. You know, I look at it this way. You know, they're going to find talent. I don't care where it is.
They're going to find you.
They're going to find you. You know, if they go to one game and they see a kid that, you know, that they got those fast twitch fibers and got good hips and he can stick his foot in the ground and make a turn on a dime, and they can look at that and they're like, oh, wait a minute, this kid got a chance. So let's see where we can use him in our program. So back in the day, you know, yes, it kind of hindered them, but these times in the day, and I'm gonna tell you something else. Deion Sanders really put a dent in that, because by him challenging all the major Division Ones and the Power Fives to go and look at these Division III and HBCU kids. I think you see a little bit more being drafted or coming in the drafts now. We hadn't had in the first rounders yet, but we've been high. We've had a lot of first day players.
Yeah, and they should have had Leonard Williams from South Carolina State, the linebacker.
Yes.
He should have gone first round because he is a monster. I do not know. He went in the second round.
But at the same time, he's still a first day player. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So you liked the fact that Deion Sanders went to Jackson State and he did what he needed to do before he moved on.
Well, it's not so much I'm glad he went to Jackson State. I'm glad the fact that he challenged all these NFL teams that, hey, you don't have to go Power 5 to find the best guy that fits your program. We got guys over here too. So, I'm going to challenge you to come look at some of our guys. It's not necessarily Jackson State, but, you got all the, the top tier HBCUs that got players. I went to the game Saturday night, and I tell you what, Jackson State, and South Carolina State, they got some dudes on there, man, that are beast. And I can see them playing in the NFL.
Gotcha.
Correction, Darius Leonard. I knew I tore up the name. Darius Leonard. I knew something was wrong. I said I gotta get that right. Darius Leonard. Put some respect on that man's name. That man's a player. That's a ball player right there.
Give that man some respect.
Yeah, and I know we hit on a couple of different topics, Coach. I was just curious to know as well. I know you did say, a lot has changed since when you were playing as well as coaching. But what's like the biggest, difference you've seen from either the kids now or when you were playing versus like the kids that are coaching, you're coaching or seeing be coached or are playing now? What's like the biggest difference?
I think the biggest difference is mental toughness.
Okay.
Back then when I played, man, you had to deal with a lot of stuff and you kind of blocked it out and you just got the job done. Nowadays, man, these kids, they got shopping balls, they got girlfriends with money, they got a whole
Social
lot
media.
of things now. That's a real distraction.
Yeah, and I know you hit on it earlier. You said that a lot of these players or kids nowadays, as well as parents, have this mindset that my child is a D1 athlete. My child is going to the next level. My child this. Now, I'm just curious to know, and you can chime in on this too, Dashia. What harm is that doing to these kids? I know it's good to give them that type of idea in their mind that if I achieved it, this, I got to get this, that's the goal. But what harm is it doing if they don't reach that goal? Or what is some harm you've seen it done to players that don't reach that goal of going to that next level or going pro?
Well, I think the harm is done more to the parent. Because you got parents living through the kids, and they're forcing the kids to do all these extracurricular activities that sometimes the kids really don't want to do. And I think that sometimes if it's not fun, the kid is not going to excel. So I let's take AAU for an example. The purpose of AAU, I feel, is to sell these kids hoop dreams. Everybody's not going to play in the NBA. Everybody's not a 6'6", 6'7" point guard. But you'll find a 5'5" kid whose parents done put him in every camp and done took him to every program. And now I'm spending all this money. So because my kid has done all this, my kid should be in the NBA. But the reality is that unless this kid is going to grow another 2 or 3 feet, or you take a linebacker that's 5'2", and you're going to put some more rocks in his pockets and some steps on his shoes, the kid is not going to make it. I mean, it's just, I had one kid named Keith Adams. Keith Adams played for he played for Clemson. Coming out of high school, he was 5'9", and nobody really wanted him. But the kid was a real athlete. His dad named Julius Adams, played 17 years in the league. So I begged and pleaded this coach named Rich Versace he was at the Clemson at the time. I said, man, if you get this kid, just give him one day, he would change your life. He took Keith. Keith broke every record in college football, deep on the defense side of the ball. Outside of it, he played 14 years in the league. But that's just one story. But you have a lot of stories where a kid same size Keith, that when you go look at the boards in these major Division I colleges, most linebackers are going to be 6'2", 6'3", and weigh about 245 pounds, and run a 4.5, 4.4 40.
Yeah, freaks of nature.
So,
go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
Oh, I was going to say my only input to it from an educational standpoint is that sometimes I wish that we would offer kids other options outside of football or basketball as their way to success. Especially like you said, if that is not something that A, they enjoy, or B, they just may not be good at it. And so if they don't enjoy it and they're not good at it, then of course they're not going to be dedicated to becoming better and having, a better chance of playing in school or going beyond that.
But I tell every kid this: don't let them use you. You use them.
Yep.
If you're going to go get a free education, you go get that free education,
and
you make the best out of it. So whatever ride that that you can take, whether it's go to a school that has a good lawyer's program, attorney program, or a doctor's program, or a journalism program, you go play 4 years, you come out with that degree, you can probably make just as much money and probably more than you would playing professional sports, because you look at it this way. The lifespan of professional athletes, let's say a running back, he's only going to last 4 years.
Yeah.
Linebackers, they may last 7 or 8 years. Some of them last a little bit more because they're fortunate. Quarterbacks may last a little bit longer because nowadays you can't touch them. So then you take that opposed to an attorney who's working the next 30 years as an attorney. Who you think going to eventually make more money?
The attorney. You see what I'm saying? So, there's a catch-22. I mean, everybody got those hoop dreams that, NFL, NBA, which is fine. It's good,
It's good. I mean, and you look at it this way, as a jump start to life, because you say like 70% of most of those athletes, by the time they get to be 55, 50 years old, some of that NFL, NBA money done dried up.
Yeah. It's gone. It's gone.
When that happens, I feel like they would have the option, though, to still be around sports, just not playing sports. I know once you retired from the Falcons, right?
Yes.
You then started coaching, and you've been doing that for a very long time. Outside of yourself, who do you feel like professional athletes wise is making impact in the community the way that you are?
Well, you find a lot of those guys, not just being an educator, you got some of those guys becoming politicians. You have some that are doing great in the community. I like take Dewey McClain for an example. He was with Atlanta when I was there, but now Dewey McClain's a politician. I think he's doing a great job in the Black communities. A lot of them is take Dwight Howard for an example. Although he's retired, but he's opened up several youth camps, youth programs. Adam Pac-Man Jones, he's in two or three states. He has a lot of youth camps going on. In fact, he's taking in kids, that lost parents. You know what I'm saying? So you find a lot of athletes that's a plus to our society and doing well with their money. And because they're doing that, you got other donors and donations and different programs that's chiming in and helping them out with this situation, giving them longevity.
That was my question.
I didn't know if you had something or not. But yeah, I agree. You just got to set the example. Sometimes a lot of people will talk about it, but you got to be about it. And that's definitely what a lot of those folks you mentioned moments ago are definitely putting everything into motion. And, sometimes, it takes some people a little bit longer to understand, what's going on in order to put things in motion. And, that's fine. Me personally, I know I'm young. I don't got all the answers, but I will say get educated a little bit about what you want to do and move forward. For the folks that are listening, that is, the biggest message that we're trying to hit home here. You got a goal. Sometimes you might not reach that goal, but please do understand that life is not over. As Coach just mentioned moments ago, politicians, folks that are starting camps, and please believe and understand that you do not have to do it by yourself. It takes a village and a community to do these things.
That's right.
Please remember, as we mentioned earlier, that relationships are currency, and to tap in with everybody around you, and you can make it happen. That's all I got.
Thank you for joining us today. I felt like it was a really good conversation, and you did drop some really good insight. So for any of you who are athletes or aspire to be, definitely take a listen. Justin, you had anything else?
That's all I got. Tap in with Coach. If you got any needs, he'll lead you in the right direction. If you're in the area and you're thinking about playing ball, go tap in with him.
There you go.
I have been Dashia D.
And I've been Jay Stain.
Join us every other Friday at noon.
And always remember to like, comment, and subscribe.